Welcome to our Rakshak channel. In this class, we will try to discuss the political controversy which has erupted recently regarding socialism and secularism, their place in the Indian Constitution, and uh, call for removal of socialism and secularism from the Constitution. So, this is the subject which we'll be discussing today. So, first of all, we'll try to understand that when our founding fathers of the Constitution framed the Constitution, what was the preamble like? What was the preamble like? So, in this way, we would first of all go to the Constitution's preamble and try to find out what were the exact words of the Constitution of India. What does it say? This is the Constitution of India. Constitution of India is the supreme law of the land, laying down the framework of the government, its organization, and the fundamental rights and duties of citizens. So, Constitution of India is the supreme law of the land. It lays down the framework for the government, its organization, and fundamental rights and duties of citizens. It was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949, and it came into effect on 26 January 1950, which is celebrated as Republic Day. The Constitution originally contains 395 articles and 8 schedules, has been amended several times, with current version having 448 articles, 25 parts, and 12 schedules. So first of all, we would like to know what is the current preamble. The preamble of the Constitution is, it declares India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, securing justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity of all citizens. So this is the preamble. Now, sovereign word is okay, but we are not okay with the socialist and secular, these two words. How does it will impact the Indian citizens if these two words are removed from the Constitution? We'll discuss in this class session. So, in the end, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who chaired the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who is known as father of the Indian Constitution, he drafted the Constitution. So, Article 342 to 351 deals with the official language of the Union and other related matters. So, today's topic is socialism, secularism, and the Constitution, and why there is call for removal of socialism and secularism from the Constitution. This we'll try to find out. So this is article which is written by M.A. Baby, who is the General Secretary of the Communist Party of India, Marxist. What does he say? First of all, let us learn. Socialism and secularism are the spirit of the Constitution. Spirit means they are soul of the Constitution. So India's Constitution is not merely a legal document, It is the embodiment of the ideas and aspiration of the nation that was forged in the crucible of an anti-colonial struggle. We achieved freedom from the Britishers in 1947. So our freedom movement is basically anti-colonial struggle. So out of the anti-colonial struggle, Constitution of India was born. Among its most fundamental principles are socialism and secularism, values that are not confined to the preamble alone, but which are woven throughout its text. So socialism and secularism are in the preamble. They are reflected in the directive principle of state policy. They are in the fundamental rights. And they are the very core structure of the Constitution. Recently, what happened? One of the secretary a senior most secretary of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, while addressing one of the public meetings, said that there is time, now it is high time, that we should remove the socialism and secularism from the constitution. So similarly, this incident happened when they were criticizing the emergency, which was thrown upon the Indian citizens after, about 50 years ago in 1976 by Mrs. Gandhi, who was then Prime Minister of the country. So before 1976, these two words, that is socialism and secularism, were not in our preamble. They were not included in our preamble. To include socialism and secularism, there was amendment in the constitution which is known as 42nd Amendment, which happened in 1976 during the emergency. So these two words were included in the constitution, socialism and secularism. So now, not only the RSS, but also the Vice President of India, while addressing one of the meeting, he said that these two words need to be reviewed, whether we should have socialism and secularism in the constitution, and they are against the spirit of Sanatan. That is, they are against the spirit of Hindu Dharma. So, what is socialism? Now, first of all, let us learn what is socialism. According to Indian Constitution, it is a commitment to social and economic justice. Social and economic justice, eradication of inequality. Eradication of inequality. Creation of a welfare state. Creation of a welfare state. By welfare state means we will look after every marginalized section of the society. We'll provide them free food. We'll provide them free medicines. We'll provide them free education. And we'll have some reservations for them in the educations as well as in the job sector. So this is known as socialism, where the state works for the creation of a welfare state and reduces the gap between the rich and the poor. Reduces the gap between the rich and poor and provides equal opportunity to all citizens of the country for their personal progress and for the progress of the nation. So this amendment was brought by 42nd Amendment. This is the spirit of socialism which is present in our constitution. The fundamental rights are major steps in this direction. Article 14, 15 and 16. What is Article 14? Article 14 says equality before law. All citizens of the country are equal, whether he is from the lower class or from the upper class, whether he is Prime Minister of the country or whether he is peon of the country. Both the persons are equal before the law. Article 15 says discrimination on ground of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth will not happen. There will be no discrimination on ground of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. All citizens are equal. Article 16 says ensure equality of opportunity in matter of public employment. In matter of public employment, there will be equal opportunity for everyone. So this is what our socialism states. Then the directive principle enshrine a vision of society free from exploitation. Then Article 38 and 39 clearly laid out and further explained in Article 41, 42, 43 that these are landmark legislation and judicial interpretation. So in all, socialism is not against the wealthiness, not against the rich, but it is to uplift the poor in the country. If certain section of the society is unprivileged, marginalized, living below the poverty line, we should provide opportunities to grow him in his personal life, in matters of public employment, in matters of education, and in matters of social strata. This is socialism. Now we'll come to secularism. What is secularism? Secularism means religious neutrality. Indian Constitution believes in religious neutrality. means we will not say that particular religion is important and particular religion is unimportant. It gives positive assurance that the state will treat all religions are equal. All religions are equal. It will protect the right of minorities and ensure that no citizen suffers discrimination on the basis of faith. There should be no discrimination on the basis of the faith. Faith means whether I'm Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, Jain, Buddhist, there should be no discrimination on the basis of faith. So, this is secularism. The original text of preamble, even before the addition of the word secular in 1976, had already promised liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship, एंड फ्रेटर्निटी एश्योरिंग द डिग्निटी ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल। कहता है 1976 में जब ये दो वर्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हमने 42nd अमेंडमेंट में इंट्रोड्यूस किए, लाए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, तो उस समय उससे पहले भी हमारे पास लिबर्टी ऑफ थॉट था, लिबर्टी ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन था, लिबर्टी ऑफ बिलीफ था, लिबर्टी ऑफ फेथ था एंड लिबर्टी ऑफ वर्शिप था। एंड फ्रेटर्निटी, फ्रेटर्निटी मीन्स भाईचारा। फ्रेटर्निटी का क्या मतलब है? भाईचारा। ensuring the dignity of the individual means हर एक इंसान की इज्जत की जाएगी। अंडर फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर्टिकल 25 to 28, सेम राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन is there. Under article 29, 30, cultural and educational rights are there. These articles ensure that state neither identifies with nor privileges any religion and that every citizen, regardless of faith, enjoys equal right and protection. So ये आर्टिकल 29, 30 जो हैं, ये सारे के सारे आर्टिकल 25 से 28 जो फंडामेंटल राइट हैं, इनमें क्या है कि स्टेट किसी भी रिलीजन को प्रिविलेज रिलीजन नहीं बनाएगी और सारे सिटीजन्स फेथ को ध्यान में ना रखते हुए बराबर के राइट्स और प्रोटेक्शन एंजॉय करेंगे। इवन द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया रिपीटेडली अफर्म्ड दैट सेकुलरिज्म इज द पार्ट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी क्या बोला कि सेकुलरिज्म आपका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का बेसिक हिस्सा है। Basic structure doctrine was introduced in 1973 in Supreme Court's landmark judgment in केशवनंदा भारती। केशवनंदा भारती क्या है? केशवनंदा भारती एक लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है जो कि 1973 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अनाउंस की थी। इसने बोला इट होल्ड्स दैट व्हाइल पार्लियामेंट कैन अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बट इट कैन नॉट अल्टर द फंडामेंटल स्ट्रक्चर और बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज इनवायलेबल। पार्लियामेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस में अमेंडमेंट ला सकती है परंतु उसका बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर चेंज नहीं कर सकती है। ये 1973 की लैंडमार्क जजमेंट केशवनंदा भारती द्वारा में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दी थी। सो इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए 42nd अमेंडमेंट लाई गई 1976 में, 3 साल बाद, और उसके बाद कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो है भारत सरकार ने, उस समय की जो सरकार थी इंदिरा गांधी की, उसने सेकुलरिज्म और सोशलिज्म वर्ड्स अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में डाले। Constitution commitment to social and economic justice, equality, fraternity is inherent socialist. Its guarantee of religious liberty, non-discrimination and minority right is inherently secular. वो कहता है कि ये जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की कमिटमेंट है उसमें सोशल, इकोनॉमिक जस्टिस, इक्वलिटी, फ्रेटर्निटी, ये वर्ड सोशलिस्ट है, इनहेरेंट है इसके अंदर। महात्मा गांधी ने भी क्या बोला? महात्मा गांधी व्हेन ही वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट अनटचेबिलिटी ही वाज सेइंग दैट I cannot say that my head is superior or my feet is low. If head is on the highest part of the human body, it doesn't mean that head is more important than feet. All parts of the body are equal. When he was describing that our country is basically at that time was divided into 4 type of groups. Number 1 Brahman, number 2 Kshatriya, number 3 Vaishyas, number 4 Shudras. At that time, he was saying that they are not Shudras, but they are Harijans. They are the sons and daughters of God, Harijan. So at that time, he was saying that there is socialism he also spoke of socialism and equality and non-use of untouchability. So he says that even before 42nd Amendment, the Constitution's core philosophy, structure, and provision would remain unchanged in their essence. When B.R. Ambedkar gave final speech to the Constituent Assembly on November 25, 1949, he mentioned about the notion of equality. Notion of equality means what is the idea, what is the theory, what is the philosophy of equality, which forms the foundation idea of socialism and secularism as embedded in the Constitution's spirit and structure. B.R. Ambedkar's word remain a guiding light against any attempt to dilute the foundational values. So B.R. Ambedkar's word, they provide a guiding light against any attempt to dilute these words. Now, this is the basically argument which is given by the RSS, and it is perceived threat. It is a kind of perceived threat of the opposition party, especially the Communist Party and other parties, that if these two words, that is socialism and secularism, are removed from the Constitution, then India will become a theocratic Hindu Rashtra. What do you mean by theocratic Hindu Rashtra? Means it will be a Hindu Rashtra which will be governed by the Manusmriti, which will be governed by Manusmriti. So there should be no attempt to change with the preamble. There should be no attempt to transform the preamble. And what we have achieved out of anti-colonial freedom struggle, that should not be diluted. That should not be diluted. Constitution of India is a living document that is designed to secure justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity for all. Socialism and secularism are the pillars on which edifice of the Indian Republic stand. What does it mean? कि सोशलिज्म और सेकुलरिज्म ऐसे दो पिलर्स हैं जिनके ऊपर भारत गणराज्य की इमारत टिकी हुई है. एडिफिस का मतलब इमारत. टू अटैक देम इज to attack the very soul of India's democracy, all those who cherish the values of the freedom struggle, a struggle that RSS was not part of, must stand united in defense of the lofty values of the Constitution and resist any attempt to destroy the idea of India. So this is part one, which we have discussed, that what is the value of socialism and secularism according to the writer, and why it is important that they should remain in our preamble and they should not be deleted from the Constitution. Now we'll try to go through one of the another article on the same subject. This is what editor of the Hindu is writing on the same subject. Nothing of worth will be gained by removing two words from the preamble. क्या बोल रहे हैं एडिटर साहब कि अगर हम प्रेम्बल से सेकुलरिज्म और सोशलिज्म हटाते हैं तो हमें कोई गेन नहीं होगा. एंड व्हाई इट इज हैपनिंग? बिकॉज आरएसएस जनरल सेक्रेटरी दत्ता राय होसबाले मेड ए पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट in support of the idea that it has now acquired a new urgency and prominence in national politics. Word secular and socialist, we have already explained, were introduced by 42nd Amendment and by Prime Minister Mrs. Gandhi in 1976. So what is Gandhian socialism? Gandhian means Mahatma Gandhi socialism. They were also the part of core tenets of the Jan Sangh. Gandhiji believed in the socialism, and at that time Jan Sangh, which is now BJP, they also believed in the socialism. Hindutva proponents accused their rivals of following pseudo-secularism and by implication claimed to be genuine secularists. The word secular and socialist have attained meaning specific to Indian context over the years. Secularism is not a rejection of Indian civilization heritage or any religion. सेक्युलरिज्म का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम भारतीय सभ्यता को या उसकी संस्कृति को या उसकी विरासत को हम रिजेक्ट करते हैं या उसके धर्म को रिजेक्ट करते हैं, बट ए कमिटमेंट टू इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट of all faiths by the state. Indira Gandhi had been viewed as someone pandering to Hindu sentiments. Socialism is not for about hostility to private property or enterprise. We have already explained. Socialism is not against the richness. If say 1% or 2% of the population of the country is extremely rich, it doesn't interfere with the socialism. Socialism is uplifting the marginalized poor section of the society by providing them good education, by providing them good employment opportunities, by providing them medical aid, by providing them food, so that the gap between the rich and the poor narrows. It cannot be equated, it can narrow. Socialism is not about hostility to private property or enterprise, but a pragmatic appreciation of the fact that the state must take proactive measures to tackle poverty and expand opportunities for the deprived section of the society. Words secularism and socialism reflect a broad consensus in Indian politics that has been held for decades. अब इतने साल हो गए हैं socialism, secularism में हम विश्वास करते हैं. Now we should not ask for their deletion or removal. Instead of that, writer is saying that it is high time we should tackle discrimination. We should tackle poverty, tackle underdevelopment. We should tackle the core issues which are influenced by caste and religious origins of the city. Our energy should be focused on tackling the unemployment, on tackling the poverty, on tackling the underdevelopment, and on tackling the divisive agenda or divisive forces in the country. So this is what has been written by the editor of the Hindu. Now there is one another D. Raja, General Secretary, Communist Party of India. He has also written on the subject. What he has written, let us understand. On the eve of 75th anniversary of Indian Constitution, Supreme Court of India reaffirmed the foundational character of Indian Republic by upholding inclusion of words secular and socialist in Constitution preamble. 75वीं एनिवर्सरी जब हम भारतीय संविधान की मना रहे थे उस समय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि सेकुलरिज्म और सोशलिज्म दोनों वर्ड्स इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में रहेंगे और ये भारतीय गणराज्य के हिस्सा है. भारतीय गणराज्य के दे आर द फाउंडेशनल कैरेक्टर ऑफ द इंडियन पब्लिक. These words introduced through the Constitution in 42nd Amendment in 1976 by Indira Gandhi-led government during emergency have been the target of repeated political and legal attack by right-wing forces. Right-wing forces means the BJP, basically Bharatiya Janata Party. They are the forces now who are ruling the country. So, original preamble was adopted on November 26, 1949, but these two words were not there in the original preamble. That is, secularism and socialism was not there when Constitution was adopted in November 26, 1949. This is what Vice President of India went a step further, terming that insertion of these words is a sacrilege to the spirit of Sanatan. He says, according to Vice President of India, these words should not have been inserted in the Constitution. So therefore, now it has led to a debate, political debate, and whether India should remain a secular country or not. India is a country which is unity in diversity. It is a rejection of colonial divide and rule, communal politics. So, Supreme Court also says that secularism is a part of basic structure of the Constitution, something that cannot be amended or erased even by the Parliament. Supreme Court क्या बोलता है कि सेकुलरिज्म कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का हिस्सा है, बेसिक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की आत्मा है, उसको पार्लियामेंट भी नहीं हटा सकती है. 1931, Mahatma Gandhi said in his resolution on fundamental rights, state must remain neutral in religious matter. महात्मा गांधी ने 1931 में क्या बोला कि कोई भी सरकार है उसको रिलीजन के मैटर में बिल्कुल न्यूट्रल रहना चाहिए. दे शुड नॉट शिफ्ट साइड्स टुवर्ड्स majority religion or minority religion. B.R. Ambedkar also reflected the same line. The state shall not recognize any religion as a state religion. B.R. Ambedkar ने भी सेम बात बोली. उसके बाद गोविंद बल्लभ पंत, August 27, 1947. Do you want a real national secular state or a theocratic state? उन्होंने भी यही सवाल पूछा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली से डिबेट के दौरान कि क्या आपको एक नेशनल सेकुलर स्टेट चाहिए या थियोक्रेटिक स्टेट चाहिए. जसपत राय कपूर, who is a historian, he noted that Gandhi had made it clear religion should be a personal matter. महात्मा गांधी ने क्या कहा? Religion should be personal matter. It should be confined to my home. It should be confined to my soul. I should worship the way I want to worship, and that should remain in my home. It is a personal matter. On October 14, 1949, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel reassured the nation that Constitution of Free India would not be disfigured by any provisional on a communal communal basis. सरदार पटेल ने भी अक्टूबर 14, 1949 को बोला कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के साथ कम्युनल बेसिस के ऊपर किसी भी तरीके से छेड़छाड़ नहीं की जाएगी. So these were the warnings given by our previous leaders, which should be kept in mind whether there should be change in the constitution. We'll go a step further. Supreme Court's recent decision rightly interpreted the term socialist in the preamble as synonymous with a welfare state. Supreme Court ने बोला socialist का मतलब होता है welfare state. Welfare state we have already explained. B.R. Ambedkar's own emphasis on social economic transformation of India, an end to caste exploitation, landlessness, poverty, discrimination. Socialism means creating conditions for equality and justice, not the importation of any foreign ideology, but the realization of the promises of the freedom struggle. So this is what Supreme Court and B.R. Ambedkar have said about the socialism. Now, RSS demand to remove the term secular and socialist from the constitution is a part of long-term project to dismantle the very edifice of the modern republic and to institutionalize a new order built on religious supremacy, caste hierarchy, market fundamentalism, and political authoritarianism. Now, what should be done? It is the duty of every citizen that they should defend it. They should regard every citizen as equal, regardless of the faith, caste, color, creed, gender, with dignity, equality, and freedom. We should accept all citizens of the society as equal, and we should forget their faith, caste, color, and gender. The Republic must be protected, nourished, and if necessary, defended against those who seek to destroy it from within. So let us rise to the responsibility with courage, clarity, and collective resolve. This is what we have discussed today. Again, I'll sum up. The subject is like this, that socialism and secularism in the constitution and arguments, whether these two words are the spirit of the constitution, whether we should change the spirit of the constitution, or whether there should be dilution on it. So there can be arguments, argumentative writing on the same subject. Now questions from your side. क्वेश्चन पूछिए. समझ में आ गया?
यस सर.
चलो ठीक है, जो मिस कर दिया आपने वो फिर से दोबारा से देख लेना शुरू का. ठीक है.
हाँ जी.
ओके, थैंक यू. जय हिंद.
जय हिंद सर.